It's always a pleasure to be exchanging views with you on U.S. politics, as you have a unique and insightful vantage point. I will rise to the challenge of trying to keep this very short, distilling developments over the past 3 weeks that currently are described in the 4th edition of my update that now runs to 47 pages. Has it only been 3 weeks? I should note by way of background that having spent the better part of 8 months leading up to the elections, focused on what a Trump 2.0 would mean were he to win, from a civil rights and civil liberties, rule of law and democracy perspective, while I was shocked that he did win, I am by no means surprised as to the carnage that we are witnessing. The challenge that those of us in my cohort faced was that while Trump was telegraphing exactly what it was that he was going to do, and while a range of historians and others properly flamed this as a slide to autocracy, indeed fascism, so few people wanted to believe or could grasp the magnitude of the threat. My weekly update is titled Purges, Paybacks, Disruptions, and Power Grabs, and I believe that sums it up. No sector of society is untouched, and as we have seen, the effects are rippling across the globe. What I did not fully appreciate, and I am by no means alone, is the extent to which we would have two symbiotic power centers in Washington right now, Trump and Musk. One journalist noting how the story would be reported or what is occurring in the United States to have taken place elsewhere, name your failed state, titled his report, Musk Junta Establishes Him as Head of Government. The other surprise was the extent to which so many would kowtow to the leader, what Timothy Snyder calls preemptive obedience. Trump said he would be dictator on day one, and by the end of that day, we had close to 30 executive orders and other proclamations. 3 weeks later, that number is up to 100. This is a combination of Bannon's flood the zone with his muzzle velocity. It is very difficult to keep track of the fire hose of orders, the cabinet nominees that range from troubling to appalling, and as often is the case with Trump, it is important not to be distracted. It is what is playing out behind the scenes that is most troubling. At this point, there are only two guardrails, the courts and the stock market. Again, in my cohort, that is not a surprise, as during our tabletop exercises this summer, it became clear very quickly that there would be very few means to fight back. As one of my friends, a former Trump national security official, would regularly say, when Team Blue raised the rule of law and similar bulwarks, you do not understand. They don't care. The more extreme view right now is that Trump will simply ignore court rulings. Those rulings have largely been in favor of those challenging Trump. And those challenges have been in respect of shutting down agencies, firing federal employees, and engaging in the most egregious hack of government IT, all at the hands of Doge, Musk, and his band of tech engineers. D.C. right now is shell-shocked. It is a government town. USAID, the FBI, the Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, CIA, no federal agency will be spared. The revenge and retribution tour is in full swing, and huge numbers have been put on administrative leave, reassigned, or fired. And the private sector is as much at risk, particularly NGOs and civil society organizations. The more high profile violate the law, which is why the courts have been quick to enjoin actions. So yes, we've experienced a coup, not the old-fashioned kind, no tanks or mobs, but an undemocratic and hostile takeover of government. It is cruel, it is petty, it can be brutal, it is at once chaotic and surgical. We said the institutions held in 2020, but behind institutions are people, and the extent to which all manner of power structures have preemptively obeyed is hugely worrying. There are legions ready to carry out the Trump agenda. The question is, will the rule of law hold?
Six months, and then I met my wife, and life happened, right? So that was 16 years ago now this year.
Yeah, I've been sober for 16 years. How about that?
Hey, right on, right on. Actually, me too. I like to go fast stuff, and I had to grow up, I guess. So I'm a veteran. I was in the Navy.
Cool. That's my favorite. Pup here, our guy Pup was in the Navy too.
Right on. Anchors away. Y'all remember when George Bush did Mission Accomplished?
Yeah.
So I'm about 50 feet away from him.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. So sometime I'll tell you guys the real story about
And
that.
then veterans issues was one of our big topics here. We dive right into it.
Right on, man. This seems like a cool crowd. I'm definitely into it. I just let all my moderators know about this one, and I'm gonna actually get in my group here, and because I know I have some people who are still on Twitter, and I'm trying to organize my Twitter following now, and I built a community and stuff, and we're trying to do a few things. But I'm going to let them know that, hey, maybe Spaces is a reason to do Twitter, guys. I mean, I know we all are really not cool with giving Elon money and attention.
Yeah, we have a lot of people in the climate space on Saturday. That's the only thing they do here all week. They join our climate space. They don't participate at all otherwise.
Okay. Well, I want to be in that one, so somebody please send me some details on that.
So, Resistance. Are you a skimmer or a submariner?
I was an Airedale.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, the guys that could never find us submariners. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have a real radio station? Broadcast station?
Not yet. That's gonna come. I mean, it's in our name, so we have a website that I haven't done much with. No, I've talked to some people. There's some people that want to get us on the radio, actually, and I just need to follow up with them and figure out what.
We got Joe. We got a guy. I got a guy Wilson. He had the radio going last spring. We were simulcasting these spaces on internet radio, and just lately he dropped the radio station for a while. It was called Resist Radio. We had going. We might start that up again. Internet radio.
Okay, cool.
And we have a website. We got climatecrisisclub.org on the climate front.
Good.
So,
good deal.
Resistance. I'm currently working on a project. 2 years ago, I looked at creating an AM radio station.
Uh-huh.
It just cost too much.
Yeah.
Now, the project I'm working on is, for instance, Alex Jones had a shortwave station.
Yep. Yes, he did.
And I am working on doing the same thing. So you need to follow me back so we can keep in touch, brother.
I'll do that. All right. And who you got? Hold on here. I wasn't looking at my phone. Tell me what your username is.
Pup Tentacle.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. You followed me, right?
Correct.
Cool. I'll follow you back. Yeah, I am. Man, I just haven't been on. Really done much with Twitter. I'll tell you guys my Twitter story. So this is how Joe lost his Twitter. So it's January 6th, okay? And January 6th. And I had been spending. I've been on in these DMs with these Nazi accelerationists, and I think we all know what these guys are all about, right? I mean, people we could name who, are kind of like minor celebrities in MAGA. And, I was trolling them for a few days, and we were actually going back and forth. And I was having a reasonably intelligent conversation with one of these nutcases. So, anyway, okay, guys, if anybody tells you that these guys were not planning January 6th, I'm going to tell you right now that I spent January 5th and 4th DMing with people who were definitely planning January 6th. Okay, that was absolutely what they were doing. So that morning, dude DMs me and he's like, "Okay, we're here, we're ready to go." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, good luck." he's like, I'm tossing my phone now, and I'm like, "Okay." So that one ended, and what was going on at the time, is I was at the vet, and my cat had some going on. So I'm sitting in my truck, just kind of waiting. And it's COVID, so they won't let you in and anything. So I'm just sitting there for like 2 hours. So somehow I end up in a conversation with whoever's running Mitch McConnell's Twitter and Jack Posobiec. We all know who Jack is, right? So I was talking shit to Jack. And he comes back up and he's like, "Hey, bro, I got a friend at Twitter and he can kill your account in 5 minutes or something like that." I'm like, you know what? Fuck you, Jack. Right? Whatever. Wouldn't you know it, though, 5 minutes later, my account's dead. And dead. It took years before I could get back on. Actually, just this year, like I would make accounts and they would get killed, and I don't know what happened, but anyway, I guess now I'm cool again. But so yeah, that's how I lost Twitter, and I'm back due to the generosity of one of my community members. Um, I've noticed one cool thing about doing activism is that people give you stuff, so that's nice. Same lady gave me a big TikTok too. So I had a point actually beyond this though. I'm sorry. Oh, guys, I think that we all just want to hope for the best, right? And that this is all gonna just sort of even out, and the courts will take care of things, and we're all gonna be able to take a big breath and just kind of get through the next 4 years. But I would submit that history suggests that Elon and Trump and the whole crew, Stephen Mill, all this whole parade of circus animals are going to start committing crimes, right? And I mean, we can all speculate about what sort of crimes you might be able to commit if you had concentration camps with tens of thousands of people in them, hundreds of thousands or however many people they want to put in these concentration camps. So they're going to commit crimes. And then the crimes, become the reason that they can't leave office because then they're exposed.
Joe, one thing we keep talking about around here is how unpredictable Trump and MAGA are. Last night he announced that he was going to get rid of the penny, right?
I saw that.
Right. So I said to my wife before I told her that, I said, okay, take a guess what the newest thing is on the Trump agenda, right? Trying to prove the point that it's just hopeless to try to, they're like really erratic drunks. It's next to impossible to predict what they're going to do next. She had no idea it was a penny, right?
So we got dementia.
Right. So from our point of view, trying to counter all this, trying to anticipate what they're going to do over there and have a counter, it's really hard work.
Well, right. It's like, the guy's got, some kind of degenerative neurological condition. I mean, I worked at a hospital once, so I know how this goes. These guys, you just got to let them babble, and, there's not much more you can do than that.
Right, but the point is
not to nuclear weapons.
Not to get too paranoid or worried about it, right? To roll with it, and because we're trying to develop strategies and tactics here of how to advance the blue agenda, how to go forward.
One thing I've observed is I don't think his chief of staff is in control of him. How usually the chief of staff kind of runs stuff.
Yeah.
Trump does not. I mean, when he tweeted about the bishop, right? I mean, anybody who had any influence over him would have told him that, hey, dude, put your phone down, okay? Just leave it alone. But they couldn't, right? He keeps crazy tweeting. I don't think she's in control of things. I think she's probably just as bewildered at this point as everybody else. I mean, can you imagine working for this guy?
Right.
You cannot manage crazy, and they have a fucking personnel problem up there.
Oh, fuck no. I mean, just imagine what a day at the White House is like. Oh, my God. What's really, I was talking with my wife about this the other day. Can you imagine being some poor fucking intern, right? you're some college Republican, and you got swept up in all this, and now you're looking around and you're kind of realizing that these people are like sociopaths and nutcases, and you're calling your mom. Oh shit, what do I do, mom? I mean, yeah, you can, like you said, you can't manage crazy. The guy needs to be in like a memory care unit.
Yeah,
That's all I got, guys.
absolutely, man. It's a clown show, shit show, freak show up there in D.C. in the Oval Office, and we're the opposition party, right? we're in the minority, and we've got to do like in parliamentary democracies around the world. We've got to play the opposition. But let's hear from Karen in Arizona.
Hey guys, well, I'm back from wrestling with gorillas, provided by the capital E. So, what a day, huh? Technology really can throw you for a loop. Just for a little levity, I was thinking, why don't we just take up a collection and build a fake Oval Office and have him in a secure facility where he thinks he's president and he can sign executive orders all day long.
Well, what Joe was just saying, what are those, those conservative guys right out of college get a job, they're thinking, that might be what they're thinking. Some sort of Truman Show at the White House might be the strategy of the chief.
I would sign, you know what? I never watched his program, but, if they did some sort of Truman Show and called it the Trump Show, I'd watch that. I would watch that. I'd pop popcorn. You bet. I might even have a beer.
I never watched the show either.
Never in a million years. But yeah, I'd watch him. Play fake president.
If we take out all the elements of fear, so no concentration camps, no Nazis, no terrorizing, no intimidation, no AR-15 militias. If we took out all the element of fear completely, what's left?
It's just a bunch of hot air.
I mean, a fat old white men just saying racist things. What do they got?
Well, let's not forget, too, though. I mean, Alex, let's not forget. Biden put a lot of judges in before
I think it was 245, is that right?
Honey, I really do. I count on you to have numbers. But he put a lot of judges in there. And, it is scary. I'm terrified because, I have a marriage that's have interracial kids and part of, Hispanic families in Tucson. I mean, my family is all encompassing and, it's scary. But I remind myself, we do have people in high places. We do have judges that are going to say, oh, get the F out of here. You are breaking the rules. So Trump is a noisemaker. And, somebody needs to take the squeaky out of his... Never mind. Yeah, somebody just needs to remove his squeaker.
Yeah, you are in a biracial marriage, which is very honorable. I mean, just beyond love, it's difficult in this America, the America of the last few days. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We traveled back east one time and we took the southern route, and there were restaurants that would not serve us. And we had our daughter, we had our baby girl with us, and she was like 3 or 4 years old. And, we're sitting there, and these people got ugly with us in front of a child. I mean, people can be very disgusting.
I hear you, and I do. I've talked to Michael, and I know he's a very sweet, intelligent guy, but I do admire you walking the walk. That's bravery, and that's real.
Well, who am I going to love in my grandkids? What shade? What shade am I going to love of my grandchildren? I have Native American grandchildren. I have African American. I have Asian American. I have, Irish American. I mean, it's just like I've got Ukrainian American. Who am I going to love? I'm going to love them all because, man, they are some cute kids. Let me tell you, you blend people, you get great results. I think we're gorgeous. We're gorgeous when you look at humans and the way we're designed. We are extraordinarily gorgeous. You look at animals. There's some pretty funny looking animals. I'm glad I don't look like a platypus. I mean, hello, right?
Yeah. Well, you just summed everything up very, very succinctly there, that having the beautiful grandchildren of all varieties, and what is wrong with those people who don't appreciate all the varieties of human beings? They seem to denigrate all the varieties of human beings. I don't get it. That hatred, racism thing is just central to our problems time and time and time again. Whereas if you have grandchildren from all over the globe, you have this beautiful family, which is one of the best parts of this life. So it's politics, though. They make ground up with their ignorant base, their white evangelical ignorant base. They make up a lot of ground, spewing out that hatred. They get votes. It works for them, and that's politics. That's what we're discussing here. Even if it contradicts what's beautiful in this life, the meaning of life, what we're doing here, it's a stronger addiction for them to just win. And we discuss that perpetually. Great words from Karen, as most of the time. And Ingrid is feeling it too. Hi.
Hi. Politics. You know what? Politics, I will not accept politics is hate. And that's where we have to start. We have to start in that area. Yes, Trump is throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. More distractions, work on despair, have people feel that they're hopeless, that they can't do anything. All those are the criterias of a wannabe despot. He wants to come after education. We all should be in the street yelling at that, because when you really think about it, who in the hell wants government to remove education? That's like the dumbest thing. It's like, are you fucking stupid? Or you think we're stupid? Okay? You remove education, that means that's when you dumb down society. That's when you dumb down society. The reason we have voices now, and the reason that we could speak and feel courageous and speak the word, is because we know what's in the Constitution. We know what has happened in the past. We know how we have advanced going forward. We know we don't go back, we go forward. That's when we start paying that attention and start calling out the nonsense. No, you can't get rid of our education system. Over 50 years, that was put into the administration by Carter. No, Carter lived to 100 and he was a good man. And he left us the Department of Education when we plan to keep it. We plan to keep it. Okay, we don't go backwards and remove things that are working for humans in America. We don't go backwards and turn the clock to want to dumb down society and sit by and watch it. No, our taxpayers' dollars should not go to religious schools. You want to be a religious school? Fine and dandy. You don't pay taxes, so use your congregation to raise your money, and you could teach whatever you want to teach, because there is a separation between church and state. So once we get back to the basics, we have to get back to the basics. And that's why they want to get rid of education, because they don't want us to get back to the common sense basics, that we know what the hell is going on and what he is doing is unjust. And do we really care who voted for him when we know they voted on lies? Do we really care? Do we give a platform to those people knowing that they don't know any better? Because there are some people actually believe Trump is innocent and that Democrats are coming after him. It baffles the hell out of me, but they believe it. Because you got these mega churches and all these places infusing. I don't know if you guys got a chance to listen to some of the hearing, but there are a couple of senators that all they did was rant. The Castro and the Kennedy, and all they said were lies. people at home listening to that, oh, it must be true. They're saying it at a hearing. Nobody is denouncing it. Nobody's saying that's a lie. It must be true. That is our problem. We need to call out the lies. We need to come with facts. We need to say, hey, this is America. America is that beacon on the hill. America is 248 years. They weren't the best years. But you know what? When you look back, it improves as the years go by. Right now, we're going backwards. No, unacceptable. Any politician that wants to take us backwards gotta go. And those are the words we need to express. So if we want a future for our children, our grandchildren, their children, their friends, we better fight for this republic because they're about to pull that rug underneath our feet and we were not going to know what hit us. So we better wake up and realize that that's what they intend to do, and only will they succeed if we allow them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ingrid, as always. And yeah, I'm not too sure about the politics of hate myself. It does start to get into semantics and words. Whether hatred can actually be a political movement or not, I don't really know. It's all sort of philosophy. But there's no doubt that the opposition at this point does harness, they do hatred baiting with 100% for sure. When Trump is making overtones to the Afrikaners in South Africa, it's completely pointless in terms of American reality. What do we care what Afrikaners are doing, really? It has almost no impact on our society. But he makes overtones to Afrikaners who are descendants and are actual people of the apartheid era in South Africa. That's simply to irk liberals and get his base excited. There's absolutely no other reason for him to do that as hatred baiting than irking liberals and giving his base a buzz. There's no economic benefit. There's no security benefit. There's no benefit at all to the American people to say that Afrikaners are a minority, some kind of a vulnerable minority in South Africa when white South Africans have 70% of the wealth there, having 10% of the population. I don't see anything but a politics of hate there, Ingrid. What do you think?
Absolutely, Alex, and thank you for bringing up that because I forgot about mentioning that as well. Elon Musk is the baby of apartheid. Okay, Elon Musk. 1994 is when apartheid was over in South Africa, and America played a very instrumental part in making sure that it came to an end. I remembered in the mid 80s when we were boycotting Citibank and different institutions that when in 1994 it was a peaceful transfer of power, and even though the blacks there were treated like shit, I'm gonna call it like shit, okay? They were treated like shit. They had to walk with passports. They couldn't be in white neighborhoods unless they worked there. It was a horrible thing.
Well, they were murdered and tortured, Ingrid. Never mind passports. They were tortured to death for being innocent. Yeah, yes. Stephen Biko and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. And to see that Elon Musk is here playing around with our politics, and supposedly the president that they claim got elected is there talking about South Africa, like forgetting that in 1994 we gave those people their freedoms. And we did not, and those people did not take the wealth from the white people. The white people were still able to keep their wealth, like you said before. And they are now struggling to get themselves together because now they have the freedom to do so. And that should be a lesson for us. Look what Trump is talking. Is that what he wants us to go back to? No, I'm sorry. No, we're not going back. And we have to be renowned and renounce those words. So we are not going back. And it was not a slogan as like anything. It meant what it said. We are not going back. And that's what we need to talk about. So, yes, Elon is from South Africa. He's a baby of that administration. And frankly, I want to know if Elon got here legally. I want to know when he had a student visa, did he actually go to school? And how he got to be a citizen and when he took his oath. Because he also had to take an oath to a constitution to support and defend it. And right now, he's doing neither. So we need to know more about Elon and start paying attention. Like I said, guys, stay focused. Go after who we need to go after. Don't be afraid because there's more of us than them. Just remember that. It's more of us than them. We have to fight to get our country back. And then we could talk about policies and all that kind of crazy stuff. But for now, we want to keep our Constitution. We want to keep our constitutional democratic republic. Because you know what? It's been working. We just need to improve on it, not make it worse.
I love you, Ingrid. Our country is a hot mess, but we work it, and you're right. And I love you. I really love you, Ingrid. A lot. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I think the point is well taken. If we forget all the fear factor, the stupid Proud Boys and the big guys with AR-15s and, all the threats of ICE, if we forget their pseudo-Gestapoism, what's left? They're just sad old white guys that are sort of pathetic. They can barely talk a sentence in English. They're really not scary as human beings. It's the little campaign they put together with their base that gets this air of intimidation and bullying across the land. But basically, if we can just drop that sense of fear for a moment, they really don't have much of anything. They're just rich old white guys trying to steal more money. Same old. And we, on the other hand, are clearly have very kind, intelligent, well-meaning people that are getting organized and are forming teams and are getting coherent and focused and decisive. That said, I'm always glad to talk with Elizabeth over in sunny California. We haven't had much California talk today. We had a lot of talk of California over the weeks. How are you doing, Elizabeth? How was life?
Well, I'm doing better right now than I was this morning because I was a mess. But I haven't been able to see the whole thing because I had an appointment. So after the appointment, I feel a little bit better. I'm not going to totally just liquidate my whole thing. I'm feeling a little bit better about finances and going forward and what's happening with the world. Well, sort of, kind of. But I also wanted to, starting with like something I showed Dr. Mike as I unfollowed him when I didn't, and then I started checking, and there were a whole bunch, including what I'm on right now. Let's see. Karen was still there. Ingrid was, and it was showing me as unfollowed. Mojo unfollowed. Let's see, Resistance, whatever I had followed back on that. That was not working. It kept going. I would follow, it would unfollow, follow, would unfollow. Let's see, Don. Let's see, Tiger. Paul. Okay, check on that. I'm following you. You're following me. Let's see if it sticks. Let's see. Who else was there? Nancy. Okay. Yeah, a few days ago, I unfollowed you because you had not followed me back. So I have now followed you again. Ahem. Follow back, please. Let's see, who else? So I think that Elmo's messing with us a little bit. Yeah, what else? Okay. So if you see one where we've been following or it shows me as not following you, just let me know. Maybe like unfollow, then follow, then it'll show up on my whatever. So I've had several in the last, today and then this last week, actually a few. So other than that, I don't know what the topic's been because I've been a little distracted. So I'll just go down to listening. I did want to say something about Social Security. I felt I could not. Yesterday, okay, what's that? Yesterday. Hey, today is Monday. So last week, I think it was Friday. No, actually, it was Thursday. I went to Social Security and to sit down and talk to someone regarding Social Security. And at the door, they weren't letting anyone in. You had to take down a number and call to make an appointment. And if you wanted to go in, all you could do is go in and they would tell you to go home and make the appointment by phone. So I did that, called the number, and waited. I thought it was 3 hours. My daughter said it was 4 hours on hold. Finally got through to somebody and explained what I was told to call this number to make the appointment. And then I was hung up on or whatever. So I'm not quite sure why. Oh, and then online you can't get through to them. My daughter and I have been trying to get through just to make an appointment. So I don't know what is going to happen with Social Security. Something I saw online with someone who seems reliable. So we shall see. The other thing happened is my check this month came early, and I was kind of wondering why, which was a good thing because I'm thinking maybe because what's coming up with this Project 2025 discusses Medicare and Social Security. So let's see what happens. I'm going to keep an eye on that and then see what this other space, what this man was saying. Someone had asked, well, what is it that you think will happen? And he didn't want to say specifically anymore, not wanting to give anyone a heads up on it. So anyway, for those of us loved ones that have loved ones or about to have Social Security or receive it, let's hope that doesn't happen. Does anyone have any responses or any concerns as I have?
Well, it's funny, Elizabeth, listening to you. It occurs to me the federal government started its tech is starting to sound like Twitter tech. It's working about as well. The websites were all down this morning. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the Social Security, Medicare, and all the other departments. If it starts to feel like Twitter, I wouldn't be surprised. Things.
What do you mean by feels like Twitter?
Well, things that don't work well, in this digital universe.
Right.
And I know a lot of government websites were down this morning and people were really upset.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I was able to get through to who handles my finances and investments, so I felt a little bit better after talking to him.
Yeah.
And we just let him know that if something happens and the stock market is about to totally whatever, that I need him to quickly just sell everything, and so he's aware of that. He's available. I don't have to wait on hold forever. I get through.
Right, but again, it's that feeling of fear. I was trying to say, what if we forgot all about the fear and just saw the reality here of what's going on? And they're just these old rich white guys that are just goofing around. They don't care about the government. They don't care about the people. They got in office. They fooled their base using hatred and fear to get in. And here we are, just trying to live our lives, have a good digital conversation.
Well, I'll be okay. I'm in a situation where it won't be perfect. I'll have to make some adjustments in life. I may have to sell my home, which would be so ridiculous. I've apologized to my daughter so many times.
They have some breaking news here. They say Trump has proposed to change the presidential seal. I was just saying, let's guess what he'll do next. Nobody had that on their bingo card, that Trump now wants to change the presidential seal.
What? I didn't.
I did.
You had that one?
He wants to use that crest that the family stole. There's a little something about that. I just remember a little bit of it, and I said, I bet that's going to be the next presidential seal. Again, guys, Pay attention. Shit is being thrown at the walls. And every time it's shit, let's call the shit out. No, you cannot do that. No, you are not going to do that. No, we are not going to allow to do that. 248 years, guys. 248 years. We are not going to let an insurrectionist come in and blow everything up. And we're going to be like, oh, but he could do that, he could do that. No. We have to say, no, you cannot. And we have to show ourselves saying, no, you cannot. And all those Republicans that are concerned that they're going to be primaried by Elon, let there be concern of Americans joining together and help primary them wherever they are. Because everybody that's in the Congress right now, they do come from different states, and it is your state people that vote them in. But if we help promote the ones that we need to be in DC, that's what we promote. We could have that influence. Their money is influence bad people. Well, our money has to influence good people that will go there and stop this nonsense. Social Security, I've been paying Social Security since I was, 11 or 12, because I was doing commercials and stuff. So I am 67 years old. No, you cannot touch my Social Security. We have a contract. I'm an American citizen. I have a contract. I came here with a green card. That's all legal. All that is legal stuff. You're not going to pull shit out of your ass and think you're going to change things. No, that is not what our government is. Not to change things, not like that, unless we, the people, want that change. And we're the ones out there forcing that change, not an executive order. Because an executive order, a president wouldn't have to take an think about it. All the executive orders Trump has been doing is executive orders, not even his people in Congress will vote for it. Because they know it will kill their political career. Those are not executive orders to help us. None of those executive orders are helping us. If anything, it's causing more damage. None, not one. And that's what we need to call out. Tariffs, talking about tariffs, no. Why you want to change things? Things were working fine with Biden. Why we want tariffs for? I like my TV at that price that I've seen it. I don't want to see that go up. So those are the things we need to, that's the way we need to do our message. It's like kitchen sink kind of shit. Sitting around and saying, screw that. Just like how you would run your business or your family member. Would you have somebody like Trump running your business? No. Would you have them being the head of the family running shit? Hell no. So just because supposedly he won 2024, that doesn't mean we have to put up with the shit, guys. He is illegitimate. According to 14.3.
Exactly.
He is not supposed to be holding office according to 14.3. And no rogue Supreme Court is going to tell me otherwise, because I know how to fucking read. And so do we.
And
so let's
love
start
you.
speaking
I love you
in the language we need to speak. I swear to God, because I am like so fed up. It's like, enough.
That's how I just woke up this morning and I was like, it's funny, someone said, I think it was my daughter, what's with the dome, the young man who's, I just can't remember the name, but we were just talking about it a few minutes ago, or about 10 minutes ago. The actor that's living, and it's actually a dome. It's a fake world.
Yeah, the Truman Show.
The Truman Show, yes. That's what my daughter and I were talking about. That hopefully we could just wake up and it's the Truman Show, but it's opposite, and everything's wonderful, and there is no Donald Trump. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
I am tired of this man has destroyed my life in some way for the last almost a decade. I'm just tired of it. I mean, part of it's good because I basically slept through it. But
yeah, that's the way to do it.
But then when I woke up to it and found out while I was in a coma, and then while I was in and out of the hospital, like, what happened now? And again, Trump. Oh, and when you get out of the hospital, each time they want you to know your name and the President of the United States.
Oh, right.
This is not pretty when they ask that question.
Right.
And my daughter's like, can't you give her some more of that Ativan or whatever? And there's like, if we give her any more, we'll kill her. So they don't ask me the president anymore. I think they finally realize it's not a good idea to ask me. Well, thank you for listening, everybody.
Sure, Elizabeth.
Hey, Elizabeth, before you step away, I had to go down to Social Security here in Arizona, in Tucson, and I've also found out that they weren't doing same-day appointments anymore. However, I did, knowing my name, this is not going to surprise anybody. I asked to talk to the manager, and so he came out. His name was Juan, and he was a very nice man, and he gave me the number to the office in front of where I was standing. So I went back to my car and I called the office, and the woman who came on the phone got my mother's situation handled. Boom. But I did actually ask for the manager. The manager came out and spoke to me and gave me a direct line number. So I don't know if that will help you, but I just said pretty please, and they were very happy to accommodate. So I hope that helps.
Okay, I know somewhere I have the direct number that's not the 800 or 8, whatever, starting with an 8. I'm somewhere in my paper.
Exactly.
Or else I'll just go over and just wait at the door and get that. So I want the number to the actual office where I was, and I don't think that's the number that they gave me to call. So I try
and remember, all of the Social Security numbers just had, or Social Security offices just had this put in place. So they know that people are like, what the F, right? Yeah. And so he was so sweet. He was just Don Juan. Let me tell you, he was more than accommodating. I was gracious. He gave me the number. It got handled. I didn't even leave the parking lot, and it was done.
Okay.
So, I mean, and they're on heightened awareness right now that this is inconveniencing a lot of people. So just we know you. We know you're great. You just be the best, Elizabeth, and they're going to take good care of you, honey.
Okay.
They really will.
They always have. That's why I was so surprised that I don't have an appointment. I just go and I wait 15, 20 minutes, and I've always met with the same man at the left side of the whatever who has encouraged me to wait until my former husband has retired, and then I go off of his, so I get mine plus half of his. So it's an incredible difference. So they wanted me to wait. You're going to really wait. It's worth it to wait. So I have, and now, yeah, I'm going to take your advice.
But remember,
go ahead.
Yeah, remember something. These people that are working in here, they were just as surprised at this change. And the ones that I spoke to were not happy about the change at all.
So what is the actual change? What has changed?
They don't, it's by appointment only. And, you know, they're trying to clear out the waiting area.
Okay.
So somebody came up with the idea. The one that I went to here in South Tucson, as long as you were the first 20 in line, you got in and out. Boom, you were done. And they took that away from them. So my office was really disappointed. They were not happy about the new rule. And so they were doing everything they could to take good care of us who had stood out there waiting. So I'm just saying that, you know, I approached them with a real gracious heart, and they reciprocated. And, you know, they're just as disturbed by this. You know, oh, we have a great idea. Most great ideas turn out to be less than. So I know that if, just speak to the manager. It works for Karens, especially when we're polite.
My mom, my mom's been dealing with this for a year, you guys. When Dad died, when Dad died last year, she had to get the spousal benefit, do all that, and it took like a year. And no appointments. She had to, you know. Anyway, I just wanted to let y'all know that this is not necessarily new, because my mom's been dealing with it for at least a year, since last January.
They used to allow offices to construct their own way of handling things. And that's why my office used to have, you know, the first 30 people that came in the morning got handled. And what they did is they stripped the offices from doing it their own way. And now they're all having to do it a uniform way. And they're not happy.
Well, I'm thinking I'm going to show up.
I'm so sorry that happened.
Oh, that's okay. I'm going to go, I think, tomorrow, just first thing when they open, try to be the first one there. And if I can't sit down with someone, then at least get an appointment, because I can't get an appointment over the phone or online. So I'll get it done. I'm persistent.
Yeah, don't go full blown Elizabeth. You are a queen after all, right?
Yes, princess. I'm little.
No. Throw the crown on, woman. There's been good Elizabeths on the throne, yes. So just own it. Walk it in and own it.
And it has and it did work out for Mom. So they did finally shake it out, but it took about a year for them to work out whatever the hell they needed to work out with her, but it did finally shake out.
Well, mine should just be an easy change. All the information is in their system already. They just have to implement it. So I just had to wait, and then I haven't been able to get there because I've been in and out of the hospital. So anyways, it'll all work out. I'm just worried that apparently this next, let's see, we are in February, that March there will be no Medicare or Social Security. That's what I was somewhere. Isn't that what something has been implemented?
Well, so Elizabeth, is this thing I keep saying. They're so erratic. There's no predicting what they're going to do. You know, are they going to get rid of education? Are they going to get rid of Medicare? And then most of the things they seem to do is probably blocked by a judge anyway. So everything is up in the air right now. We have to just carry on as best we can in the face of all this chaos. It is chaos.
Well,
we're in a constitutional crisis because the judge has said, quit your shit. And you know what they have not done? They have not quit their shit. This is really literally a constitutional crisis, y'all. It's where we are.
Well, is this Mojo talking?
I want to welcome Dolores to the conversation here. She seems to be in Texas, and we were talking lots of Texas politics earlier. How are you, Dolores?
I'm good. I was just going to add that Texas started 2 years ago doing that appointment only for Social Security, and it has been a mess and still a mess.
Yeah, I think we're headed for a lot of messes. That I think we can say, just across the country, all these departments, chaos and messes. And the question perpetually is, why doesn't the far-right MAGA notice these messes and chaos? They're endlessly happy in their evangelical churches with their AR-15s, having a great time. They don't seem to mind these messes or notice them.
No, they don't care.
They don't care. They are human beings. Yeah.
Well, they're orchestrating it, Alex. Of course, they're like the petulant 3-year-olds. They're pulling everything out of the kitchen cabinets, and then they're, laughing at you as you're trying to put everything back in. So you're right. I mean, they're just petulant, old white men that, and they're doing this on purpose to keep us at a state of absolute terror. And we have to remind ourselves there are safeguards, and we are doing these spaces to keep each other edified, strong, informed. This is what we do this for. The Blue Cafe comes in so that people get edified and comforted and get facts. Fact is my favorite, my second favorite 4-letter F word. I mean, food is my first. So, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, this is why we do this. We do this because the naysayers and the shit throwers, and yes, I just used the S word, they are doing this on purpose. They are the ones that are orchestrating this chaos. We have to live within the eye of the storm. The storm can wreak havoc, but in our little center of the world, we can remain calm because we have the facts.
Well, it's amazing how they remain calm in this storm of chaos because they're giving it to the libtards. So that little give it to the libtard thing enables them to find a center of their storm in an odd way. It is chaos. Yes.
Hey, Alex, can I be a libtard? I mean, a tart is at least. I would rather be a tart, wouldn't you?
I must say, I feel guilty. Jennifer isn't here. I think it's probably something we're not supposed to say. I don't know. A libtard is clever, I admit. That it is chaos. Social Security is Social Security. FDR, the New Deal, older Americans have lived a life. They've worked hard. They're getting older. They deserve their retirement. It's simple. It's basic. It's the American dream even. And Medicare, Medicaid, Treasury, state, the FBI. These are our institutions. Joel had a great space on Friday on center politics. These institutions are the center of our politics, the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Education. That's our dead center of our nation, those institutions. The far left, the very progressive left, doesn't trust those institutions. Well, we're seeing how the very far right doesn't give a flying fuck about those institutions either.
Carol, Roger here. I'd be delighted is the answer. The most important point I would make is that OpenAI and Microsoft, Google, Facebook or Meta, Amazon, and Apple have all been pursuing the same strategy of maximizing the size of the training set, maximizing the size of the compute power you apply to it, maximizing the size of the data centers. And they have asserted from the beginning that that was the only way that this could be done. So the significance of DeepSeek is not that DeepSeek has solved a problem, but rather that it has shown that you can get to more or less the same place with a completely different strategy that, you know, it obviously the number that DeepSeek has suggested that they spent, you shouldn't believe. But whatever it is, it's obviously wildly less than what the U.S. guys have been doing. And so in that sense, it's, you know, an emperor's new clothes kind of situation. The way I look at generative AI is that the biggest problem with it is that the technology, the ideas that they're doing are 40 years old. And roughly every 10 years, we get another wave of people saying, give us 10 times more compute and 10 times more data, and we'll give you AGI. And for 40 years, that hasn't worked. And I think we can hypothesize that it's not going to work this time either. In fact, to me, the simplest thing is that there are serious limitations to what you can do with a statistical process looking at historical data. I mean, just the notion that that will lead to AGI just strikes me as vanishingly unlikely. And so I would suggest that you know, that AI as a concept is something that belongs in a lab. It's not something where countries should be investing a measurable percentage of GDP to bring to market. Because while there are clear use cases for it, the scale of those use cases is very small in proportion to the dollars being invested. And so that's the big flaw. And, you know, stepping back and looking at the American strategy, it was all about eliminating competition. The notion was that if you can convince everybody there's only one way to do it, and that way requires $1 trillion, then pretty much all competition is going to fade away. Now that we know that you can get to more or less the same place with a lot smaller expenditure, that myth, I think, is going to be put to rest. Now, step back and look at the politics of it. You know, when Schumer and others declare a Sputnik moment, what they're threatening is that they're going to invest an insane amount of money to prove that the OpenAI / Oracle / Google / Meta approach is the right way to go. That would be clinically insane. But in our present moment, I do not think we can exclude that from from what might happen. I would be happy to write stuff up for you about this if you want, and I'd be happy to spend all the time you want talking about it. I'm 3 time zones behind you, so not very far behind you time-wise. Talk soon. Bye-bye.